Batgirl number 20, Hope Larson writing, Sam Basri on the art. This is the second part of the Cold Snap plot, which, I mean, still disappointed there's no Cold Snap in it. But, of course, we had she had the coordinates to go and find the lab that her friend was working at. She went there. She arrives here, there. It turns out whoever's doing all this hacking stuff has also hacked her GPS to take her somewhere else. And I did get a chuckle when she goes in the building and finds out it's just storing a lot of bat shit. I thought that was pretty funny.
That is someone had some fun with that joke.
Yeah, that's a pretty funny joke. But then basically it turns out the thing that they stole from this lab was basically a device that makes people around you trust you.
A trust gun, I believe she calls it.
I think it was
Trust Ray.
Trust Ray.
Trust Ray.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she's sort of looking in and she does the whole thing where she's got a really good memory. And he's like, I don't have any footage. He was wearing a mask, but we have audio. Does the audio work with the memory? And it does that cool thing. It's almost like a Daredevil-esque like couple of panels where the face forms in her head, and you see it's actually Black Sun, Penguin's kid,
Ethan.
And it's like, oh shit, okay, I'm glad they brought them back in for this two-parter. That's just good fun. It ties in with the snow, because penguins and all the rest of it. And obviously Penguin was in the last issue, and he was having fun. And, it becomes Batgirl then tracking him down and dealing with all this stuff. And really, I had more fun with this. I thought all of this was, the fighting was cool. I like
how she falls for the trust Ray, and then as she's leaving, she's like,
oh, I love that.
Oh, damn it, they were using it in there.
Something smells fishy. And they're like, oh, I'd be just out of that fish over there. She's like, oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Do you know what? I hate to admit this, but see when she says, oh, you're right, bye, and she leaves, when I got just that panel on its own, I went, that felt like a character, what's going on? And
then that was terrible.
And then I turned the page, and then she's like, damn it, that was the trust Ray. And I went, oh, that's really funny now. That's really funny.
Yeah. Like,
I went back and read.
That's it. She's just like, oh, my mistake, nothing to see here. Yeah. And then she's walking off. She's literally walking down the street whistling. Like that suspicious, oh, nothing going on here. And then, oh, shit. Trust Ray. God damn it.
Yeah.
I think Hope Larson's done nothing but get better when she's been writing this book.
I read this and the previous issue back to back. I thought that issue was fine, but it was clearly all set up for this. Whereas this actually paid off so much stuff that it makes it better in retrospect.
Yeah, no, I had a blast with all this. Like I say, that Trust Ray moment, her reaction, the art's great throughout. I think it does a good job of continuing the style that Wild Goose is.
Yeah, that was a concern. Obviously, we knew Wild Goose was coming off, but obviously, I think he did the last issue, even starting this arc. So you kind of there's always a concern mid-arc.
And honestly, I mean, I'm sure if I go back and compare them, like side by side, I'll see the differences. But honestly, from memory, it feels consistent enough that I'm not feeling a difference.
No, the tone is very similar. What I will say is we've lost something, which I'm actually a fan of. That we've lost this is all the pop art dots.
Oh yeah,
that Wild Goose used on the backgrounds a lot. It was the one thing about his art I was not a big fan of, but I didn't notice any at all in this issue.
Yeah, Black Sun's got a new suit. I think it looks a little bit better. And Penguin's going to run for mayor. So that's the whole thing. He's got his trust rate because he wants the people to like him, so they'll elect him. Is basically the idea. So not shady at all. So we get some fun fight. I really like, again, just going back to like Larson's like voice for Batgirl, the thought bubbles, the way she like thinks her way out of problems. There's just something so fun. It reminds me a little bit of Miss Marvel. Kamala Khan's book. It's got a little bit of that vibe going for it.
I never read that.
And that's a compliment for the record.
I'm gonna trust you.
I've read 2 volumes of that so far, and it's given me similar vibes to that in terms of the tone.
I've only ever heard good things about it, so I obviously I assumed it was a compliment, but I can't speak to the actual comparison.
But yeah, and she kind of like solves the whole thing. She drops in and exposes Penguin, and
as a good punch.
Yeah. But yeah, let's talk about the final page, because the final page she deals with this was a 2-parter. Though she's dealt with the crisis, and of course they have a whole thing where she feels a little bit guilty because remember when she defeated Black Sun the first time, she overcharged his suit and it basically fried him, and he's got a lot of scarring and stuff. We see his face and it's kind of it's just a little bit grotesque. And
there's that great joke with Penguin too. And he goes, "You gave me a face only a father could love." Penguin's like, "Love."
Yeah, love question mark. Yeah. It was a really funny joke. But she goes in. He says, "You've got scars too under that mask, I bet. Like whatever's under there." And throughout the issue, there was a couple of moments where she's talking about how like Burnside's kind of changed a little bit since she moved here, and she feels that she's grown up a little bit. And it ends with her looking in the mirror, and she's like, "I'm not a kid anymore, and I don't want to be." And then that's the end of the issue. And it's interesting. Like, I wonder where Larson's going with this. Like, what are we doing with Babs?
And with the tag of family reunion too. It's wondering if they're gonna bring in the mother stuff. You know, that Simone had introduced.
Honestly, I'm really glad about this because to get Babs mature a little bit, because I think that's typically how we're used to reading her, right? Up until New 52, she was the mature one. Yeah. And even for most of the New 52, or, up until the shift in the 30s, she was still relatively mature sounding and feeling.
Yeah.
And then the shift happened and she became not childish, but younger.
I'm glad they're doing this. I wonder if this is like, because obviously we're getting to this time now where No Justice and the Superman relaunches are coming in. Yeah. I'm wondering if this is, because obviously we're just going into an arc now that will probably finish maybe in like July-ish, June. But it depends if it's like 4, 5, 6 issues, whatever we're doing. I wonder if like there is going to be kind of like a soft, like kind of like status quo shift in Batgirl then as well. Like, does she take a sort of role where she wants to like maybe work with the other Batgirls? Maybe that's just my hope speaking. But if she is wanting to mature, like, does she want to look out for other people? Does she want to
move into a bit more of a mentoring role?
Yeah, I could almost see it.
She wants to go from player to coach.
Yeah. And not even necessarily quit being Batgirl, but just like be the leader in a team as Batgirl. Because Birds of Prey's ending, we know that much, so maybe that'll be kind of what we should.
And she really wasn't the leader. Like, it was Batgirl and the Birds of Prey, but they all were pretty equal on that team with Huntress and Canary. So I don't know. I mean, it's funny that I remember the outcry about Killing Joke and how before all of this, that arc, I forget who worked on it, kind of tried to erase stuff from Killing Joke. And people threw a fit. Remember? And I wasn't in the fit category, but I was like, well, no, that's part of her character history. But the further we get from her ever being Oracle, and this version of Babs we get as she's kind of the responsible one, I kind of like this version more of, Killing Joke might have happened, but it wasn't her defining.
I think the funny thing is, I think most people would agree to like Babs being around. I think what murkies it is that after Killing Joke happened, and Oracle became such a good character and a good part of the DCU that people love it so much that it feels like, oh, we like that thing a lot, and now it's been taken away.
I think the way that they go here is they have her mature into that Oracle type role.
Yeah.
But just take it rather than do it through tragedy, more this is her choice that she gets to.
Yeah, maybe. And I don't necessarily think though that she has to give up Batgirl to do it in a weird way.
Oh, I don't either.
Agree.
Yeah. But I like that, because that was my main thing. I never wanted to lose Oracle because I love the development we got with her as Oracle. And then if you say the Killing Joke never happened, you're kind of taking that away. Here, though, she gets to become that role.
Yeah, because
Batgirl.
I got to the end of this and I got to that last page and I just kind of went, huh. This feels like it's building to, like, she's got plans to kind of like.
It feels like a shift is coming, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. So I'm curious to see what that is. Whether that's like building up to the end of Larson's run, or if she actually has like the plans to go through with some big shift herself.
I hope it's the latter, because I think Larson started strong, but has got better.
Yeah, no, I agree. So hopefully we'll see what goes on there. But hey, so that's Batgirl. Great issue.
Also, Penguin is a biter.
Penguin is a biter. Yes.
He bites Batgirl's arm in the middle of the fight.
There's so much
Penguin.
There's so much fun going on in there, and just also there's commentary about how we rely on technology so much. Is that's the Penguin's plan? Is everyone always looks at their phones and they'll trust what's on their phones more than what's seen outside. So if they weren't supposed to get a snowstorm and they got one, then there's something wrong with the weather, not with their phones.
Yeah, and also obviously it ties in because everything with Black Sun's whole plan in the first place was to use the apps to kind of convince people to do things and kind of herd them like sheep. So the whole idea of manipulating them with a truth ray is kind of in his MO. That seems to be kind of his character. So as a sort of character, if he keeps coming back every so often, that'll be his type of thing. Is he always tries to manipulate people with technology?
And we're building a Babs Road Gallery.
Yeah, he's a good addition to that for sure.
Yeah, it's related to Penguin, but it does feel like a Babs villain, which is pretty cool.